We'll get you back to more testimony in just a moment, but let's take the opportunity to bring in trial attorney Jamie White. Jamie, of course, thank you for being on with both of us. Let me ask you about Melanie Gibbs. She's not as confident in her answers, I think, on cross-examination, a little more stuttering. How do you think she is doing in terms of the prosecution's case against Chad Daybell?
Well, I think the prosecution's case is extremely solid. There are some questions that I think have been put forth as far as whether or not he was a direct participant, and that will go to the death penalty phase. But she's what I would call loosey-goosey, and that certainly will be taken advantage of by the way of the defense. But at the end of the day, I don't think she offers any real defense.
What's coming across and what I remember about her testimony at this point is that there was the two of them, Lori and Chad, and they were connected in just about everything they did, and that's what she's sort of brought to the table.
Yeah, Michael, that's a great point. This is not a case where a middle-class American family. I do feel for the victims' parents and aunts and uncles who I've had an opportunity to hear from during the course of the case. But as far as the victims in this matter and the people that have spoken in the courtroom, there's really zero compassion. And, so when you get into writing books, it happens. I just got done with a case here in Michigan where a young woman was assaulted, and in her diary, she talked about writing a book. And I think there's a legitimate place for that. But this particular venue, it just gets more and more bizarre and more particularized, in the sense where people seem to be looking out for themselves, starting with the parents, of course. So I think it's just, I think it's the devil's hole getting deeper.
And Jamie, I've been sort of struck by the tone taken by John Pryor really throughout the trial. It's been very aggressive. He's been at times aggressive with this witness, but I'm noticing that he toned it down for her a little bit, really coming to life when he wants to make a point. How do you think he's doing as far as tone is concerned? Because I think attorneys have to be careful not to upset the jury too much.
I think you hit it on the head. This gentleman, for lack of better words, is in a very difficult situation. So, to continue to sort of beat the hammer on the head, so to speak, I think is a bad move. And he's been polite. He's doing what needs to be done. But at the end of the day, the testimony is what it is.
Is there a risk of going too long? Because we know typically cross-examination is intended to really ask those very important questions, but not go through all the testimony. As the jury, is it a potential this jury is going to get bored listening to this many questions by the defense?
There's no question. Quite frankly, I've been watching this trial for weeks now, and the several trials associated, and it gets boring for me, being a positive listener. So I think absolutely your point is well taken. Get the points out that you want to get out. At this point, it's about saving the man's life. That really is it. I suspect there's some people that are going to suggest that maybe he had nothing to do with it. I think that, I'm not a gambler, but I think those are ridiculous stakes. And I think kind of beating this thing over and over is a waste of time and energy.
All right, we'll see what happens. Thank you, of course, to Jamie White for being with us today.